Hello, everyone. Welcome to AG Triathlon. Today I have with me Eric Engel for a race recap episode. Eric placed fourth overall age grouper in the Ironman World Championships 2021 in St. George. Welcome, Eric, to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
It's my absolute pleasure. So, Eric, you just finished fourth in St. George and you won your age group. Massive congratulations. So let's dive into it. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been doing triathlon for, 14 years now. I got started back in college. I took a triathlon class, didn't know anything about the sport at all, and kind of got hooked from there. Did the Ironman in Wisconsin the next year. And so that was my 19th Ironman on Saturday in St. George. So I've been doing triathlons, and I just started a new job out in Colorado Springs for USA Triathlon. So right now, the kind of my life kind of revolves around the sport. So been loving it, and I've had a few years where I've kind of fell out of love with it, but the last few years I've been really enjoying it again.
Yeah, perfect. So I guess triathlon is a big passion of yours. So tell us about the race.
Yeah, it was obviously I'm used to doing a world championship in October in Kona, so but it was exciting just to have a race, have a world championship. I qualified back in 2019, so I've been waiting 2 years to do this race, and living in Colorado and in the Northern Hemisphere, it's been a lot of indoor training. I did about 95% of my training indoors for this race, so a lot of trainer rides, a lot of treadmill runs, and did a lot of strength work because I knew this course was going to be a beast, and it was a beast. I think everyone that did the race will tell you that. So, if you kind of want me to dive into the race, I mean, I feel the swim, for me, I've been swimming really well. I've been swimming here in Colorado Springs at altitude. I got in the water, and I kind of swam alone the whole time. I passed a bunch of the age group in front of us. I think it was a 65 plus in front of us. So we had a lot of traffic to swim through the first few minutes. And I swam alone the whole time. Thought I was swimming a little faster than I finished, but I came out of the water, I think third in my age group. I'm not sure what I was overall, but probably top 20. I swam, I think, 55 and change. So I was happy with that. Wanted to swim a little bit faster, but felt good and got onto the bike pretty quickly. I think I even made up a few spots in transitions. That's kind of one of the things I pride myself on is having a quick transition. And I think I jumped up a few spots overall in the transition area. And goal on the bike was just to stay consistent. I know the first 60 miles are less demanding than the last 50 miles. So I knew if I could just stay consistent the first 60 and ride my race, I could have a good race. And similar to the swim, I swam or biked alone most of the race. I got some company right before we hit the climb, so that was nice to have just some guys to ride with for a little bit. But then kind of rode away from them on the first big climb, up to Veil, and then the solo on Snow Canyon, and that thing was hot. It was hilly and kind of was at my limit going up Snow Canyon, but kind of be able to descend, and I still felt good headed into transition and into the run. And again, another quick transition. I passed another few guys in transition. Then the run, was first half felt pretty good, but the second half was definitely all about heat management. So I think it was going to be whoever won the race was going to be the one who didn't crack the most. I knew there's a guy behind me, Andrew Hall. I've raced him a few times, and he's a spectacular runner. And I kept getting splits that he's at 12 minutes, he's at 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 6 minutes. And I had about 4 miles left, and I saw someone on the course. They said he had a 3.5 minute lead, and I knew there's one big hill left, and if I could make it up there with 2 or 3 minutes, I'd have the age group win, the 35 to 39 age group win. And I didn't really know where I was most of the day overall, but I knew I was up there as well, and just kind of tried to keep the guys off coming from behind me and just kind of shuffling my legs the last 2 or 3 miles, but got it done, and world champion now.
Yeah, amazing. So talk us a bit about your bike strategy and pacing. So Obviously, you're starting in waves, so you don't really know where you're at overall. Was it your goal to win overall, or were you just strictly going for age group?
Yeah, I think my first goal was to win my age group, but obviously I always want to finish and beat as many people as I can. So that was definitely a goal of mine. But first and foremost, winning my age group was key. The bike strategy, like you said, we had a rolling start, so you never really know where the guys are at. And they actually started us a little bit early than we were supposed to start. So they didn't really keep to their time. So you didn't really know the gaps from behind you. And I know Jan Stepinski is one of the top age groupers in the country and the world, I guess. But he passed me in the water and he started a wave behind me. But then I passed him in transition, and then he passed me on the bike right away, and he rode away from me right away. And I know I had to let guys like that go. And kind of my bike pacing strategy, I knew obviously the course had a lot of different hills, a lot of different gradients. So I had kind of a plan based upon what gradient it was. So if it was a 1 to 2% hill gradient, I had a power number, 2 to 3%, so on and so forth, up to 6+%. So I just stuck to those gradients the best I could. Once you hit Snow Canyon, you can't really control that. So you're really just kind of pedaling and going up as slow or as fast as you can. I stuck to my power numbers, stuck to my nutrition plan. I took about, I'd say, like 500 calories an hour, but more concerned about the carbs. I did about 100 carbs an hour, 1,200 milligrams of sodium. I knew it was going to be a hot day. It was hot and windy. So just making sure I was topping my fuel tank off before I got to that run.
So what type of wattage were you targeting? And a lot of the athletes that I spoke to told me that they were on average like 15 watts lower than what they were hoping for. So how did it look with you?
Yeah, I think, I was targeting around 240, 250 average. At the end of the day, I think my average power was 235 maybe, but I normalized it was a bit higher than that. Obviously with just a lot of coasting and a lot of different hill work. I think it was right around what I thought. I put it in best bike split the week of and before, and that kind of popped me out a 250 bike split, 450 bike split, and I think I biked a 447 maybe. We had a little bit of tailwind going up the first big climb, so I think that kind of helped me there. But yeah, kind of right on what I expected. I think looking back at my whole race, I think I could have pushed a little harder on the bike. I think I was very overcautious the first 60 miles, which, played out to be a good thing, but I think I could have gone a little bit harder and not affected my run split that much at all.
How do you figure, how do you sense that? You would assume that the harder you push, the more your run would be affected, right?
Yeah. I never got to the point on the bike where I usually do, kind of that hurt, like that really, really want to get off your bike feeling. Snow Canyon was super hard, but up until that point, I was feeling great. Never really felt any fatigue in the run as far as kind of the bike side. It was just more of a mental fatigue in the run. So I think had I pushed a little hard on the bike, I think I would have been able to hold on to a similar run split as well. But obviously, you never know if you would push harder, if you're expending more calories, or if you're overheating. So I think for the day I had, I think I placed it pretty perfectly. But you always kind of have those looking back at kind of where you can make up some time. And I think if anything in the whole race, that would have been what I would have done a little bit differently.
Yeah. So then you arrive into transition. Once again, you put in a very quick transition. How do your legs feel? Do you already have an impression that you're in for a good day, or at that point it's still too early to tell?
Yeah, I think I got off the bike, like you said, ran through transition, and I was seeing some of the male pros running already on the course, which is always motivating to see, and kind of wondering who was in the lead of the race and all that fun stuff. As a triathlete, obviously, I like to follow along, and it kind of sucks racing with them because you get to miss the race, but I'm sure I'll watch it back tonight. But yeah, the first 3 miles, it's an uphill, so my goal was just to run and not really look at my watch. If you're looking at your pace at this race or this course, it can kind of play with your head a little bit. I think that's what I got stuck into at the last half of the race. But the first 3 miles, I felt great. I think I ran 6:30 my first split, which is a little hot out of the gate going up a hill, but felt good and just kind of stayed relaxed. And I think my fastest mile of the day was maybe mile 4 or 5. So was feeling good out of the gate, and I felt pretty great the first 13, 14 miles of the race. And then it started to get pretty hard.
Yeah. And then you had that battle with Andrew Hall. At what point did you know? You mentioned that last hill you got up there, then you knew it was already in the pocket.
Yeah. I got off the bike and about mile 2, I saw some of my friends from the Zwift Academy, the coaches and teammates, and they said I had a 12-minute lead on second place in my age group. I had passed the first place guy, I think mile 1 or 2 of the race. He flew by me on the bike and he must have blown up on the run, so pretty early. But yeah, I knew who Andrew Hall was, and that was kind of all I was concerned about on the day. Obviously, there's a ton of other fast guys, but I know he's capable of running 250 or 255 on the day. So I knew if I could just not blow up, that 12-minute cushion could give me the age group win. So I kept track of it all day as far as when people can give me splits. But the first half of the run, I think I ran a 128. This isn't too smoking, but that's not too slow either. So felt good. And then, the wheels started to fall off a little bit. Miles coming back, that last 6 miles was really tough. Getting in my head, I looked at my watch a few times and was seeing some 7:30s, and I knew 6 miles. If he's running 6:30s, that's 6 minutes. So I was getting pretty worried in my head and didn't really want him to come by me, but my mind kind of gave up at some points, but just kind of kept shuffling my feet, like I said. And then I got to that last hill, and I knew if I could just shuffle up there and come down with a 2-minute lead, it'd be pretty hard to beat me on the downhill there.
Yeah. And I saw on Instagram that Titanic moment you had with your teammates. Yeah. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So I've been on the Zwift Academy team this past year. It's been an awesome experience, and Lucas and I have really bonded. We were actually in the same age group if Kona would have happened, but then I aged up, so I got out of that age group, which ended up working out for me in the end here, because had I been into that age group, I would have took third in my age group and still fourth overall. But that was a very tough age group with Lucas and then Matt Kerr taking the overall win. But yeah, he's a phenomenal athlete in person, and he started the weight behind me again, so I didn't really know the exact gap, but we were going back and forth on the tracker. I think I had him for a 6-second lead on him at one point, then it hopped back, and then that second half of the run, he kind of picked it up and I kind of faded off. But I waited for him at the end, the last couple minutes, and he ended up beating me by, I think, 2.5 minutes. But it was just great to be able to kind of experience that and finish that with him. We started together and finished it together.
Yeah, amazing. And tell us about the rest of the season. I guess Kona is your next big objective.
Yeah, so obviously Kona is kind of the one I've always wanted to win my age group at and take the overall win. So that's up next up on the docket here. But taking some time off this week and next week, and then just kind of regrouping. And I'll probably do some 70.3s. I just signed up for 70.3 Steelhead in Michigan in June, and then I'll probably do Ironman Wisconsin 70.3. It's my hometown in September, and maybe one or two other 70.3s. But yeah, main focus is Kona and getting back and getting some heat training in again and getting some outdoor rides this summer, which is nice, leading up to a world championship. So yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season.
So before we conclude the race recap, what I'm curious to know is, like, obviously 2 world championships in Ironman distance, 1 world championship in 70.3. I don't know if you're going to do that, but how do you make sure that you peak at the right time for both of those? Yeah,
it's tough. Being really fit in May is hard because you have a lot left in the season, and I think taking a break mentally and physically is huge for me, and not worrying, not thinking I'm losing fitness these next 2 weeks. I know it's hard for a lot of triathletes not do anything or not to have any structure, but I think taking a good break and what I'll do, I'll go back to kind of more 70.3 specific work, some more VO2 max and all that fun stuff, the stuff that hurts a lot, and then kind of build up for Kona probably starting in August. So not really worrying about that long stuff until later in the summer. Really don't want to burn myself out. And like most people training for a long distance event, you're doing 5-6 hour rides every weekend. The last 2 months I've been doing that, and really kills your weekends, kills your social life, your family life. So it's nice to be able to kind of step back a little bit and kind of refresh and regroup before that becomes the norm again in August.
Yeah, perfect, Eric. So thanks a lot for this race recap. It was great having you on the podcast. massive congratulations once again for your victory in your age group and 4th overall. And yeah, looking forward to see what you do in Kona.
Yeah, hope we can talk after Kona with another age group title.
Yeah, that would be awesome.